You'll get through this. You'll break new ground.
Hi, my name is Carol. Welcome back to day 9 of our We'll Get Through This, a series about helping us all stay healthier and hopefully have a little fun. Today we'll consider the vocational health dimension of my holistic health wheel, which you'll see in the link below. Oh, and in speaking of below, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel down below and click the like button. So let's talk about vocational health. Think about just one day at a time. Today. What gives you purpose and what gives you meaning? It might be setting a goal you want to accomplish, working through a project, or resolving a dilemma you've been wrestling with for some time. My collaborative partner on this venture is Lydia. As she and I were brainstorming today's topic, we were a bit shocked and then delighted as we began giggling hysterically. You see, we experience so much synchronicity in our friendship. It's almost uncanny how often we're on the same wavelength. And today was no exception. We discovered that we had simultaneously both set goals to get our creative space cleaned up, organized, and ready to go so we could start crafting again. Since we both share a passion for art as well as struggling to stay organized, we decided between giggles to create one collective goal of both getting our creative spaces done by 5 o'clock today. In addition, we both promised to videotape the before and the after images. This is really going to feel vulnerable. So for today, we're going to do a reveal of our shared purpose, focusing on cleaning up our shared space and processing that experience, as in Lydia's tip for today. Do something at home that you've been putting off as far as work, volunteering, housekeeping, or retirement. Then time yourself. How long did it take you versus how long did you feel that it would take? Remind yourself of that the next time you're really dreading getting something done. She said hers is cleaning her craft room, which becomes a catch-all for everything in the whole house. She said, I'm not going to lie, it took me some time, but I now have an organized place where I can be creative, find my things, and breathe. I'm so glad it's done, she said, as it has weighed on her for a long time. Now it's your turn. What is a project you've been wanting to check off your to-do list? Tell your health buddy about it and tackle your projects simultaneously. You'll have a blast, I promise.
Okay, disaster has struck. This is my craft room. It looks like maybe a tornado came through, but I think it was just my family throwing stuff they didn't want into my special craft room. So it turned into, instead of a craft room, I call it a crap room.
Mom,
So we're going to set a timer here, and we're going to see how long it takes
Stop it.
to make this livable. What do you think, Lena? Do you think we can do it?
Yeah, and we're going to put that thing that you got me for my room on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah. So say a little prayer for us. We'll be back. This is as good as it gets right now. I think it took us like an hour
We started at 2:45.
I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, but we can walk now and we're pretty pleased. Now our next big project is going to be to decorate the interior of this dollhouse.
Yeah, my doll
And Lena likes to do art every day, and we'll do some more paintings and some things.
Yeah, for my art class while school's over.
So we're very happy that we forced ourselves to do this, and Carol helped force me to do it, and we just love her for doing that. Anyway, that is our task, and I'm going to notate how long it took us. It was like an hour.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be. Thank goodness I had a helper. Yay!
This was a wall of stuff we never used. But this was all the things from my craft room. Piled high, stuff everywhere, and I spent hours and weeks cleaning and purging all of the stuff out. My big reveal: cleaning up the space in our dining room and making it a lot more open. My next problem had to do, as I mentioned, with having enough space for my crafts. And here was my solution. I took some of my art books and craft books, put them over here beside my piano, and then I installed this. If you'll remember, I had a big desk, filing cabinet, and a big, huge bookshelf. But if you notice, now I've got storage space. It's a very clean looking space, and it's really comfortable. By adding the rug, the new curtains, and some new decorated pillows, I made the space very comfortable, and I have room for all my extra crafts. Just so you know, you'll see I'm not done. I've still got things kind of stacked around. I now have a space for all my beading, which I don't do all the time. I have a place for my stepping stones. I have a space for all of my sewing, and I'll show you in a minute what I did. Yeah, I'm still not done. But you'll see there's a method to the madness. And so much, this whole segment of cabinets was in my office. And now I understand how well I can organize when I have more space. Yep, I'm loving this. My friend Pat Willoughby was actually the one that made the suggestion, so I'm going to credit her for really helping me. So now let's go into what my craft room looks like now. You'll see I have space for so many more things than I always have. I do a lot of writing. I write sermons, I write papers, I'm writing a book, so I need a lot of my books handy. So I've kept one bookshelf. I'm always playing with little things, so this is kind of a handy little storage place as well. I love to be able to access my bucket of markers real quickly. My wonderful, wonderful stash of Copic markers is now all organized. And if you notice up close, I made that little storage box myself and bought a bunch of little tins from Joann's Fabric when they were on sale for, I think it was 80% off. Got a little bit more storage for some more journals. And these two babies are my mom and dad's old dressers. They were just sitting in the basement collecting dust, that old blonde maple cabinet. So I had my hubby paint them all with chalk paint, and now they house all kinds of my crafts. For example, look at that. I have all of my acrylic paints in one place. I've got some other bins for other things. But I have, in each of the drawers, I have things like all of my watercolors in one place. I've got all my bottles. I've got room for all the little essentials. So now it's all well organized. This is one of my absolute favorite things in the world. It's an IKEA table. I don't know if you can see it. And it folds out. And so this particular shelf, a friend suggested I drop that down because I had that up all the time and it was taking up a lot of space. I still need a place to do a lot of writing. So I've got one of my computers here. And then I've got my Silhouette Cameo for cutting things. I've got my gel pens. And I've got one of my all-time favorite stashes, another box that I made. When I moved the printer, you can see I've got it down there, into this room, it made a huge, huge difference. But here's one of the things I just finished today. Dan painted old, ugly china cabinet. And you'll see I stenciled paint in a pattern on top of it so that the doors can still reveal something's inside, but it looks a little more uniform. I teach art journaling, and so you'll see I've got all my art journals, not all of them, a lot of them. I've got all my papers, and I've got some of my special pencils that I use. You'll see I have a lot of art journals. I do one journal a month, and so I've got quite a collection. But now I know where they are, they're organized, and I have tabs for each of them. And then my last spot is an area I'm very proud of. I have decided what I needed most, and I've got little stashes of things over here, like punches, extra paper, extra journals. I've got my toolkit. These are the files that I use to keep track of tools that I use for my class. I've got all of my stencils. I've got all of my extra papers. And then look at this. I love this. I organized all of my fabrics on 2 shelves. So they're all in one place and they're visible. Then I also took all of my extra papers, my craft papers, my scrapbooking papers, and put them down in here where I could access them. When I was in France and Belgium a couple months ago, I collected some really cool art stuff, and I store both of those in those 2 containers where I can find them. Well, there you have it. My craft room all done. Well, I don't think a craft room is ever all done. But you've had an opportunity to see how I organized, some of the tips that I used. I hope you get inspired to work on something that's an important project for you as well. Oh my God, this was such a fun project today. Okay, Lydia secretly confessed she hated doing this, but hey, she got her done, so we're both really happy. Thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow we'll be exploring creative health. And now that we both have our creative spaces all cleaned up, we'll have tons of space and we'll know where everything is. So it should be a really good day tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You'll get through this. You'll break new